Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Teachers Supporting Teachers. Today we're talking Kahoot with Krista Verardo. Krista has gone through a lot of the certification programs about Kahoot, so she's got a lot of great information to share with you, and I'm excited to learn about it too. Krista, go ahead. Let's get started.
All right. Hi, everybody. So my name is Krista Verardo. I teach at Blackstock. I'm the technology elective teacher. And as Liz was saying, during this time, I've been able to do a lot of professional development. One of the things that I stumbled upon was Kahoot certification. So through the certification, I learned about some new techniques and also how you could successfully use Kahoot in distance learning. The thing that I would like to do today is talk to you about the new features that Kahoot offers, which is pretty neat. They've added several things that I think are very teacher friendly, especially during this time. I want to do a dry run with you guys to have you go through the new Kahoot, the Kahoot with the new features, create a Kahoot with you, explain how to use it in distance learning, and then I think the most important part is then, of course, how to use it in distance learning. So first things first, in Kahoot, you can upgrade to premium, and Liz has done that if you have Kahoot school accounts. If you don't, you can actually do that with your personal account. So I have a personal Kahoot account, and you can upgrade to premium pretty easily. When you log into Kahoot, at the top of the message bar, it says, are you a school that's been impacted by COVID-19? And you click there and you can upgrade. You just click to two different screens, click, 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 and you automatically upgrade to premium, and that's available until July. So with the premium, you have some new features. And then one of the things that I discovered actually with quiz, normally I thought you could only have one acceptable answer per question, but actually you can have multiple. In the premium, you have open-ended, puzzle, poll, and slide. And again, we're going to play a quick Kahoot so you can see how they work. And then, like I said, I'm going to go through each one, and then we're going to make one Kahoot together. So let's go ahead and go to Kahoot. If you have two devices, you're going to go to kahoot.com and play the game. If you don't want to play the game, that's completely fine too. It's totally up to you. We're going to play on the one-to-one, which is what normally you guys would play in your classroom. And then I'm going to explain this one for distance learning. So I'll give you the pin in just a second. What has been cool is when you log into Kahoot, you have a couple different options. If you are worried about kids typing in inappropriate names, this is a new feature where actually they create the nickname for you. So I'm going to put that on there so that way nobody is worried about displaying their name. You can also change the background, which has been kind of cool. And in the Game of Thrones theme, we're going to go ahead and do fantasy. And then you also have a two-step join verification that every 10 seconds they change that. So you can go ahead and log in with an automatic name for you, and then this pattern. So whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and log in. So here is the website, kahoot.it, and here's your pin and then the pattern. Okay, I'm gonna start so we can use our time wisely today. So this one has multiple answers. Again, this one has multiple answers as well. So when there are multiple answers, even if you don't get all of them right, you still will get partial points. And I know that's important for the competitors in this game. So So in this one, you can see you have text, and then you also have pictures. So that's a pretty cool feature in the quiz question. So this is new. This is called a slide, where it's just information, and you can add a video. And you can set the video for a specific amount of time. I think I set that for 15 seconds, so you don't have to watch the whole thing. This is new. This is called open-ended. And you have to type your answer. I don't ask for a sentence, just a one word or a phrase, the way I set up this question. So those are the answer choices, and then it drops to show you which ones were the correct ones. And this is new also. This is a poll. Okay. Congratulations, Decisive Jagger, Blue Chicken, and Wise Ferret. All right, congratulations there. Okay, so it's kind of that, and we're going to go back to the presentation. So, a couple different things here. When you are used to your traditional true or false question that you set up in Kahoot, remember that you have options as far as setting the time. Kahoot questions can now be set up to be for 4 minutes, that the students actually have 4 minutes to respond to a question, and then you can adjust the points as well to be as much as 2,000 if you would like. Under the quiz with multiple answers that are correct, the way you set that up is make sure when you are clicking your answer options that you go from a single answer that's correct to multiple select, and then you actually make sure you need to click the ones that are correct. Puzzle. Now, I was telling Liz that I had, I struggled with this the first time I made this, because I thought you kind of maneuver the pieces around like a puzzle, but there I have a special tip to show you how to make sure it's correct and you don't do what I did, because it's rather embarrassing, and you'll see in the presentation. But puzzle's really cool, I thought, for spelling practice, and then sentence structure, and even Liz and I were talking about just the scientific method and what are the steps there. So you can add an image, and then you've got your answer choices here. Again, customizing how many seconds the students have to respond to the question, or excuse me, the players, and then your points value. The poll is pretty easy to set up. You just decide what question you want to answer, and you have your 4 answer choices. What's nice is you also can make your answer choices as images too. Again, if you would like to have multiple answers as correct, you can again want to click on answer options, and instead of single select, you want to click multiple select. Slide is really nice because I believe when the slide came up on your screen, it just says that you do not have to answer anything. So you've got data that you're putting in, your information that you're putting in. It's essentially a Google slide or a PowerPoint slide where you're putting in the information. So it's not a question, it's just something for the students to read. And you can add an image, or you can add a video. And like I was saying, you can actually customize the video for a start and end time. Open-ended, that is just an open-ended question, and you're saying these are 4 answers that I will accept. So those are some options there. When the students, and you did this, when the students answer the open-ended question, your question's here, and then they type in the answer. And at the end, it'll display the answers that you were accepting. So what I would like to do is I want to actually show you how to create these, because I think that's the most important thing in workshops, is when they get to, all right, thank you for showing me all this stuff, but actually what's the practicality? How do I do that? So what's nice about Kahoots is they actually have something new called My Drafts. Initially, this was in the draft because I was working on it, it's not there anymore. So I do have a draft in My Draft. It's just, again, something very simple here. But if you start something and you forget to save it, it will show up in My Draft. So that's a really nice feature. So let's go ahead and do practice 1. So I want to go ahead and edit this. And I have some questions that are preloaded. So when you open this, you have, I have 8 questions. Okay. So I'm going to do a poll. I already set that up for a poll. So I type in my question. You can set the time limit. So again, you've got a variety of choices there, anywhere between 5 seconds to 4 minutes long. For the poll, I'm only accepting 1 answer because it's a pretty easy poll. You can put in text or you can put in images. So if you want to put in an image, Kahoot's got a ton of images, so you can type in so we'll do that. We'll choose that image. And then again, the students would choose what they think is acceptable for the poll. So I'm going to start that with my question saying, how long did you study for this quiz? And the quiz, our topic has been about the food groups. So the question is saying what food groups are shown in this picture. I've already chosen a picture. If I want to change the picture, I would just click remove. And then I can, again, go back up here and I can go to food groups. Type in the picture I want. Maybe I want this one. Adjust the time limit. If 20 seconds is good, great. If I need it to be a little bit longer or shorter, I can adjust that. If I want the points to be different, I can say that I don't want this to have any points here, but I've got between 1,000 and 2,000. When you open when players open up the Kahoot, your image reveal can just be instantaneous and just pop up right there, or it can reveal itself in a puzzle or pixelated. I like to use original just because in this time period with Wi-Fi accessibility and broadband use, it's just easier that way. It already loads automatically because these do take a little bit of time. So for this one, I'm saying that this is, again, a multiple select question with multiple correct answers. And I need to make sure that I tag these as correct. And I don't have to have 4 answers for the Kahoot. That was kind of a new thing that I discovered. I just automatically assumed that you always had to have 4. True and false, obviously there's 2, but for the quiz questions, you can just leave 3 if you would like. All right, moving on here. I added another poll. So this was, how often do you eat from the 5 food groups? So again, you can type in text, you can type in or you can type in images. So again, this is a poll. So you're saying that the kids, you want them to only choose 1 answer. If you want them to change that and have more than 1 answer, you can change that to multiple select. Okay, the puzzle. So this is where you need to make sure you set everything up correctly. So my question is, put these food groups in alphabetical order that are shown in this picture, okay? So I've got dairy, fruits and vegetables. So far so good, alphabetical order. Whole grains, all right, but I wanted to put protein. If I put protein right here, okay, if I put protein, that's not alphabetical order. So if a player really is following the directions and putting these in alphabetical order, Kahoot is going to mark this as wrong because this is my answer grid. Okay, that's my answer grid. So you have to make sure that you actually have your answer key in the correct, matches what you want the kids to answer. Okay, so definitely, definitely make sure you do that. So that's puzzle. Slide, again, this is one of my new favorites that I think is really cool. So I've got my data right here that I wanted the kids to convey to kids, and then I can add an image right here, same way that we were doing through, you just click on it, you choose the image you would like. If you have an image that you have from your computer, you can upload it, or YouTube link, a YouTube link. Now I had already found a YouTube link that I liked that I put as a bookmark. And so I bookmarked it, and now I'm going to go ahead and open it, and I'm going to copy, Control C, and I'm going to go to YouTube link, and I'm going to paste it right in here, and it shows up right here. And I can customize my start time. So let's say I want it to start at 2 seconds. Click done, and I want to end the video, end it at 25 seconds. And then I can click done. So it's all set. And then I go ahead and add, and it's right there. So just like the Ghostbusters video you watched of Lady Liberty walking down down in New York, the video right here will have a specific start time because that's the way I set it up. I customized it. And if I don't like it, it's pretty easy. I just click remove and I can start over. So that's pretty cool. My suggestion, of course, then is your question after the slide, make sure it matches what you just asked the kids to watch, because otherwise, you know, what's the point of showing the video? Was it just for entertainment? No, it should be for educational value. So that's that. So to create a question, it's pretty easy. You would just click add a question. Here are your answer choices. Here are your choices for the question. Again, all of us are familiar, those of us that have been using Kahoot are familiar with quiz and true and false, because those are the old standbys, old reliables. And then these are the 4 new features that are with premium until July. So open-ended, puzzle, poll, and slide. So you would just click on the one you wanted to do, open-ended, you type your question right here, you type all of your answer choices right here, and then upload. So I think I skipped open-ended. Okay, so here's open-ended. My question was, what food groups are in this meal? And I have 3 choices right now that I've said, hey, these answers are correct. If I want to add another one here. So if looking at this picture, my food choices, my food groups, I see that there's dairy, I see there's whole grain, I see there's protein, and then I'm going to add, not banana, because I'm saying food group, okay? So if a kid tries to type banana, that's a type of fruit. So again, it's up to you as far as what you would accept from your students. So there we go. So that's that. And then I'm going to click done. And they're saying I still have some answers that are not, some questions that are missing some things. And I'm going to say, no, keep them. I'm fine. I'm good. And that's how you would do a trial Kahoot. So let's see. All right, here we go. Continuing on our presentation. So for distance learning, you have to figure out what's best for you. Right now, we're playing under the teach mode where you actually either have 2 devices. So you're able to watch this Zoom meeting and then also play the Kahoot. You're able to watch the PowerPoint presentation and play the Kahoot, or you're able to, on 2 different devices, or you are tech savvy enough to be able to do split screens. So if your students are able to do that and they're competent and mom and dad don't have to help them, because as we know, distance learning is putting a lot of stress on parents that aren't quite tech savvy. If you're confident that the teach mode is going to work, awesome. I liked the assign one because it's a window for students to complete the Kahoot, and they don't have to have 2 screens. The questions and the answer choices show up right there on the screen. So if you're going to host a live game, you could do that. Again, if you decide to do the teach, you could do that during a video conference. For those of you that are doing Google Meets or Zoom or whatever platform that you are doing, you can do that. And there's some tips here. If you took my bit.ly, then you also have access to video a quick little YouTube video on how to do that. Pardon me. And then I believe that this presentation is being recorded to post on the virtual gym for the teachers too, so you can access that. I'm not going to show you that video. You can see that on your own time. For distance learning, the student paced section, you're assigning the students a challenge. And this is what I have used and was very successful. I have 6 classes, about 172 students. And when I played Kahoot, set up a Kahoot game for them to play 3 weeks ago, I had 87, 90 students play within the window that I set up. So I was very, very pleased that not only did it work, but they had fun. And then when I set it up, the kids can play multiple times, which is fine with me. I'm okay with that. So you would click the challenge, and then you click play, assign, challenge. So we clicked play and then teach 1-to-1 when we played it. So this is going to be a little bit different when you have an assigned challenge, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. You set a deadline. So what's the window? How long do the students have to play? Are you giving them 2 days? Are you giving them a week? Are you giving them a month? You decide. And then the most important thing is to turn off the question timer. So remember, I was telling you that the question timer, you can modify and customize it to 5 seconds all the way up to 4 minutes. When it's student paced, get rid of that. So that way they can take as long as they need per slide, because we all know students have different levels of reading ability and reading comprehension. So that way it eases the stress, but it's still fun. I mean, if I had close to 90 kids play without a timer, clearly it must've been fun. You can copy the link, or you can copy a pin, and you can actually post it into Google Classroom or post it in a Google Doc. So it's really student friendly, and most importantly, it's teacher friendly too. So again, in this presentation, there's a video. I'm not going to play that for you. You can watch that on your own time to see how to do that as well. So here are the tips. So I think this is always great in a presentation when a presenter shows their trial and error, because then it levels the playing fields and the anxiety that we're feeling. And I know in distance learning, many educators are feeling anxious about things. So I hope I'm going to ease your stress with my tips. The first thing is, when I showed you this was from our practice one that we played at the very, very beginning. I had this is a quiz question. You have 4 answer choices, and I put text and images. Now, if you look, the question is saying, if I'm going to go to Egypt, if I want to see the pyramids of Egypt, where am I going to go? Mount Fuji. And then this very artistic interpretation of mountains doesn't make sense. So you could put that as a red herring, or you can get rid of these, but you have to figure out what's going to work best for you and your students. So if it's a combination of putting text and images, great. If it's just text, awesome. If it's just images, that works perfectly fine too. The puzzle, that's what I was talking to you about. So when I had originally thought I was really understanding how to do puzzles, I had set this up as my, I had an image, and then this was the question, the sentence I wanted the participants to be able to put in order, not realizing that you have to put the answers in the correct order, because when on the screen, on my screen, because I was actually playing it myself, so I was the moderator and then the participant, I was looking at the screen going, oh, it's supposed to be the best sport ever, this order. You can see I'm sliding it right here. No, this was the way I set it up as the answer key. So it was in the wrong order, and it didn't make sense. So that's why it was marked wrong. So when you set up a puzzle, make sure you have the answers in the correct order. Open-ended, that's also something too. With the open-ended, you need to figure out, do you want to accept general answers or specifics? So I taught history for 18 years, so this was an easy question to type. What led to the collapse of the collapse of the Roman Empire, and there are at least 15 different answers. But this one, there were only 4 that were acceptable. So that's something to consider too when you do open-ended. You're gonna have to narrow down what would be acceptable. And maybe write your question in a more detailed manner. And then your answers, you would have to clue them in, the students in, to say, from this pot of answers, let's figure out which ones will work. Because barbarians invasions is absolutely a correct theory of why the collapse of the Roman Empire, why the Roman Empire collapsed. However, in my answer key, I just put invasions, so it was marked wrong. So again, that's something to consider of how general or specific are you going to write your answers for students to compare them to. Of course, the most important thing is to test your Kahoot. So when you go into Kahoot, you can actually click practice. It will show up like this, and you have this fake mobile device here where you can type in the pin, and that way you can then make sure, and that's what I was doing here, that I was testing it out. So this was me again as the moderator, and then as the participant to say, wait, that's a correct answer. I know that's correct. Hello, I have a history degree. And then realize, oh, I had set up my answer choices and said our invasions was the only acceptable answer. So always test your Kahoot. That's super critical. When you do student paced, you need to determine your window to figure out how long do you want students to play this. So you have a variety of options. You just click and say, I want this to be done in, when I did the Kahoot, I gave them a week. I think in distance learning, given the other responsibilities they have with their other classes, and then most important at home, because many of the, at a junior high, many of our students are actually taking care of their brothers and sisters or actually working with their parents also. So to say they have to finish it in 2 days, for me, I don't think that that's quite fair to this environment. So saying you have 5 days and you have until, if you want to have this at noon, or if you want to set this up at midnight, that's completely fine too. So that's, you have to determine the window that's going to works best for your kids and is most respectful to them and their families as well during this time. I had told you earlier in the presentation to get rid of the timer. So when you do student paced, make sure that you turn the timer off too, because you're going for accuracy, not time. And you want the kids to be able to master what you're wanting them to grasp instead of hurry up and answer. So that's a really important piece, because that way the kids can be really laser focused. So I know I kind of jammed through here pretty quickly. Does anybody have any questions?
We have some questions, Krista.
Okay.
Going back to when you were letting us, having us check into the first Kahoot, and there was a
yes.
That you had to put in order to enter the Kahoot. Is there a way to change that so it's a little slower? Some people were having some trouble. It kept timing them out.
Okay, so what I would do, I was playing around with your with a 2-step verification. That is preset with Kahoot. It's only 10 seconds. So if that was too fast, I would get rid of that 2-step verification. That's just an added security measure, so to speak.
Okay. And you talked a little bit about the open-ended questions, but is there a way that you could set it so anything the students typed in would be credited?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think if you would really have to be scripted, and almost a way around that would be you maybe use these sentence frames, and that if you're wanting that. But as far as I think it's kind of it's a work in progress. It's brand new to Kahoot. And I think that this is an area that they're getting a lot of questions about, because as teachers, we have a variety of answers that we accept, and we're used to different differentiation. So I would just kind of err on the side of very specific answers that the kids already know. And that's why I was saying using it for sentence and grammar practice, and spelling practice is a good starting point.
All right. Can a student play Kahoot while in a Google meeting on the same device?
Yes, you would have to do split screen though, because to be able to, you have your Google Meet screen, and then you have to be able to see the questions. If you're doing the live question, the teacher on a Google Meet would be sharing the screen in the live session, and then a student would have their answer choices. So you would have to have the screen split and have to be able to see the Google Meet screen and still the answer choices.
So that would be on a Chromebook, but that wouldn't work on an iPad, right?
That would be really challenging.
I don't see how that could work on an iPad.
Yeah, so that's why I defer to the student paced. I think that's super easy. You just set up the Kahoot, You push it out, and you don't have to be on your device monitoring. When you are done with the game, you get your a report telling you how the students did on your Kahoot. So we could just look in to see, I think right here. Yeah, I can open my report. I can download it, but let's just say I go ahead and open this one. And I can actually download it to a, it tells you my areas that where students did well, and then where they had some challenges, and then how many students didn't finish. And then my report option right here, I can actually download it as a spreadsheet, which is pretty nice too. So.
But if you want to be able to see who answered what, you can't use the...
You can't use the nickname generator.
Okay.
Yeah.
How user-friendly is Kahoot? And are there some aspects that you have found challenging in terms of friendliness for teachers?
I have been really surprised. I've used Kahoot in the classroom for a while, but I've been really surprised with the challenge student pace mode, that's been ridiculously easy. I have students that have a variety of cognitive abilities and language proficiencies, and it's a level playing field. Setting it up is pretty nice because you can actually, when you create a Kahoot, and I don't know how the level of our attendees, their comfort level with Kahoot, but you can create your own by literally clicking create and starting. Or if you are not, when I first started Kahoot, this is really cool that you could actually type in, all right, I need a Kahoot about, okay, all of the Roman Empire. I teach social studies, okay, and then I can say, I know that the fall of the Roman Empire, that happened that's a 7th grade standard, but maybe I want to go back and see what happened in 6th grade. So you can actually go through and see, I'll go 7th grade right here. Because that way you can filter through and see which ones, some Kahoots that some people already have created. And I can open this one right here. This is just random. And it's showing me that I have 20 questions. They've played this 276 times by over 1,000 people here. And I can just click on a question right here and see that these were the answer choices that someone created. So you can see this is a Kahoot that was created a while ago, because most people now are putting images right here in your answer choices. So I find it's pretty teacher friendly.
Could you share links from Kahoot? So kids, if your learning platform is Seesaw, can you share the link?
I am not familiar with Seesaw. I've never used Seesaw, so I don't feel comfortable answering that question. Maybe Liz, you could jump on that, because I know you do Seesaw trainings.
Absolutely, yeah. That could be put on a note, that could be put as a link, that could be included as an announcement. You have both a link to a website and also that join code.
Are all Kahoots made public, or does a teacher have the option to save it privately?
You can save it private. So if you look, let's do this. When I go to settings, you can go right here. So all I did is I went into my Kahoot, and right here at my title, I click on settings. And here where we're talking about visibility. So you guys were able to see it because I shared the code with you. But as far as on the Kahoot, search for Kahoots, I have it private.
Okay. Norma Garbe wanted everybody to know that Kahoot also comes in Spanish. There's Kahoots available in Spanish. And she thinks they're great for a quick math quiz. I think it'd be great for formative assessment.
Definitely.
So would you make it private for each Kahoot, or when you set it is automatically all your Kahoots become private?
I set all of mine one by one because I'm again, hyper vigilant about that. So in my account, I don't know if you can already pre-program it so all of them are private, but I just do that with all of my Kahoots just to make sure that they're all great.
So all teachers have access to the premium version until July for free. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
So when the premium version goes away, do you lose Kahoots that you created?
No, you shouldn't. You just wouldn't be able. You wouldn't be able to create new ones with these new features. So because you already created one, it's almost like a Google Doc, right? It's already been it's saved into your account, into your folder.
All right. That is all the questions. Krista, thank you so much. I
You're
bet
welcome.
all of these 41 participants can't get off and start working on Kahoots.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all for coming, and I hope you walked away with some good information.
I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and we look forward to seeing you next week at our Zoom trainings. Check your email and sign up today. Thank you again, Krista.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. Thank you. Bye.